Lord, you tell us it rains on the just and the unjust, and that you know everything. We thank you. We pray this meeting goes well and brings you honor and glory, Lord. Forgive us when we fail you. In Christ's name we pray.
Roll call.
Mark is absent. Erica? Here. Jeremy is absent. Mike?
Here.
Chris?
Here.
Jeremy? Or JJ?
Here. Okay. First item on our agenda is approval of the agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve? Got a motion by, Mike. I'm sorry. Motion by Mike. Do I hear a
I'll second.
second by JJ? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All approved, or all opposed, like sign. And that did pass. Next item is the minutes for the previous 3 or 4 meetings, and do I hear a motion?
Did we need to table these? Is that?
Yes, I have, I'll have a few corrections up there over to Kim for her to review. I would recommend it table before that.
I will make a motion to table.
Second.
Got a motion by JJ and a second by Mike to table.
Mayor, you had made a comment that you were tabling 4 meeting minutes, but on the agenda there's only 3.
That's because we did not have the ones Friday for the last meeting, and I don't put them on the agenda until I receive.
But you just said 4 meetings, so do we need to add
That one will need added, yes.
that date added to the agenda?
Yes,
That you tabled it?
it would, yes.
So what date is that?
It's the, was it January
24th?
24th?
Yeah, that special meeting.
I mentioned the last 4, and that would be the last.
So wait, not January.
No.
February.
No, March.
March.
So just confirming March 24th
Yes,
is the 2 weeks after March 10th.
yes.
And he made the motion to table?
I did, and I think Mike.
Mike seconded.
I second.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, and that was unanimously passed. Next item is financial reports for the city financials. We still are not ready with those. Do I hear a motion to table?
I will move to table.
Motion by JJ, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, and that was passed. The next item is the water and sewer financials. And first off, the financials are in your packet. And the final set is the March of financials for January through March, and it's the current period is March of 2026. The rest of the previous ones are being presented to you tonight in accordance with the state statutes. And I'm asking for approval of the March financials. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So, you're just the March financials?
Just the March financials, they're the only ones that we should approve.
I personally would, with all of this in front of me, I would move to table it so that I can really comb through it since we haven't had it. And since we're skipping months.
I was gonna say, I don't see Will here. MC, have you? Maybe get you guys. I didn't know
If you
would
wish
have
to
the
table it, make. a
I'm gonna,
motion.
yeah, I was just, yes, I moved to table because
Okay, got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second?
I'll second that.
Motion by Erica and second by JJ to table.
Can I make a note on the agenda? It says financial reports for August 10-15 through February 2026.
Right, and then
can we change that on the agenda to have the correct date?
What is 10:15?
And then it says, in March 2026, approval water and sewer.
I understand, but what is August 10/15?
I think if
Oh, it should have been 2025.
yeah, I think it's just the keys are one left.
Yeah, I will fix that. So, yes,
Thank you.
This is tabling all of them,
it's, yeah, there's nothing really to table on the others. State law says I'm supposed to submit them. So that's what I was doing. Those have not been, the March ones are accurate. I'm not asking for approval of the others. We're asking that they, we're submitting them in accordance with state law. So the submission has been done tonight. The approval was only for March, and that's what you
okay.
I seconded that, Eric is table.
Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign. And the March minutes are tabled. I mean, the March financials are tabled for water and sewer. Next is department reports. Fire.
You guys have the report in front of you that Tony sent in. Is there any questions on it?
Am I both of these fire alarms, Gary?
That'll be next month's.
Okay. Thanks to Gary and the department, my preschool was having some issues with its fire alarm, and the guys from the fire department went out there and got us all fixed up. So thank you guys so much.
And they fixed their problem the next morning.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, there's nothing new on the station unless we have something. There's supposed to be something going on in May, I think, to get updated. But other than that, that's about all I know on the station.
Good to see you back up there.
Yep, I'll let you. Some stuff happened, and so military and everything. So yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Gary.
Thank you. Next is the police report.
And you guys, same thing, you guys have the reports in front of you. I don't remember if I told you or if it happened at the last meeting. I can't remember. We had an officer resign, and we have hired a new one, and he had started yesterday. So we're trying to get him all spun up and get him out. So once we get, and Sergeant Jones is back in country. He's no longer deployed. He's back home. I think he's going to come back next Monday. He's been back for a couple of weeks, but I think he's ready to get back to it from his deployment. So
What about the one that was
injured.
injured?
He's still injured. He's still going through physical therapy. We've got him back in a light duty capacity, and he's still going to therapy twice a week. And don't know. It's week by week. You know, as long as he's still going to therapy, that means he's progressing. It's when they stop therapy is when we'll know for sure if he's going to get 100% back or 90% back or what. But he is progressing back. He's walking, he's driving, he's doing things. He's getting slowly better.
Did we figure out the source of the loose cattle?
yeah. They figured that out and got him rounded up. Yeah, I know we were on Facebook and stuff, chasing cows and the news.
Yeah.
It must have been a slow news day if they're picking up on a cow running through Cave Springs.
Well, thank you, Chief.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Planning Commission report.
Good evening. Planning Commission meeting was last Monday. We had a few items on the agenda. One was the Ford Meadows rezoning. They had proposed a R3 zoning on the property that part of it's south of Hillcrest, and then part of it's already rezoned R2. We've talked about this a little bit already, but they had tabled this, the applicant had, and brought back some different layouts and some different discussion points, wanted to look at maybe a mix of lots and things like that on the site to see what the planning commission was looking at or looking for when we had the original meeting. So we had a pretty good discussion about lots, larger lots where some of them might go, layout as far as streets and road connectivity and things like that. But that was a lot of the meeting. Good discussion, and they're gonna come back and resubmit either some straight zoning or like maybe a PZD process, go through that or something like that. Still kind of working through that from their standpoint. So I think at this point, like one of the things they showed was a density of like 2.2 homes per acre. So it wasn't like it was a whole lot, considering there's 70 acres there is like maybe 160 homes. So the other item, fairly new, not really new, but the rezoning for Summerlin Village. So everybody here is familiar with that. We had rezoned it to a PZD. During their site plan review process and the layout that they're proposing, they have always intended to, and during the meetings, sell units individually. Well, the PZD zoning did not show that they had any zero lot line code written into their PZD document. So they're actually going to resubmit a revision to their PZD document. That's essentially what they're doing. The only thing they're proposing to change is to add the provisions to allow for zero lot lines on the homes that they've already shown, the multi-attached single-family homes. Nothing's changing as far as the site, the layout, the density, none of that. They're just actually adding verbiage to allow for zero lot lines, basically.
Zero lot lines would allow for the individual sale of each parcel within that home, correct?
Yes.
Because there's no separation, so there can't be a lot line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
I just
and
wanted to
zero-
clarify, because there were some, I think, residents in Brentwood that were very surprised by this, and they were saying, we don't want this. I said, it's too late, it's already passed. And as a council member, I received no feedback from any Brentwood resident that I remember. So I said, it's already passed, they're just asking for the rezone, but I wanted to make sure that the only reason they're asking for that rezone is because literally the homes are attached to one another, so you need a zero lot line.
Yes.
Okay.
And it was discussed as far as them selling them individually. I think that was a known idea. It's not something new. It's not something surprising. I think that at some point there was maybe an assumption made that they were going to do a upward charrette, which is common also, or not a charrette, horizontal property regime. Another weird term that I don't expect you to understand, but it's what they use to sell like apartments and individual apartments units or something. It's just another way to facilitate the individual selling of units. But they're still going to be essentially maintained through their POA document and through like their zoning and stuff like that, like all that's still in there. So really it's not changing anything other than allowing for the zero lot lines. That's what the proposal is. And well, I take that out. They added verbiage in there, some wording that says the exterior finishes will reflect surrounding property types, as far as, and all that means is colors of the units are not going to be bright pink or something, essentially. Yeah, something more calm, I guess.
I have one question about that. There would be a lot line though between the homes themselves, correct?
Yes.
Okay, I was going to make sure that we're not. trying
No,
to
I mean,
change
it's
the home.
going to be the same way like downtown buildings are.
Okay,
You know,
there
they're
will
zero
be-
lot lines. You know, the lot line will be on a divising wall that will be a 2-hour firewall, yeah, say the building code beside me. So it'll have to be like built to be a 2-hour firewall, which means they're usually like fire rated 5/8 sheetrock. They have to extend all the way up. They can't have penetrations. There's a whole plethora of building code stuff that goes into even creating or being allowed to have zero lot lines.
But my question was each each unit itself will have a lot line.
They will, and they'll have like their own specific, like designated yard space and things like that. So that's where they had designated some of that as far as like yard space and like how they were going to do like sidewalks and things, but then like just for some reason the zero lot line part of it got missed. So, and then we're just still working on the site plan review for that overall, the Summerlin Village one. They resubmitted, we submitted plans back to them, they resubmitted, we resubmitted back to them. At this point, it's with them. We're still working on a couple of things they were proposing to, they were proposing to retain ownership of the lift station site that they're gonna have to put in, which actually goes against our code. And so we had to have a discussion about that. It's like y'all would actually have to like revise the code to allow that. So then I think they potentially contacted Justin. I don't know if he's heard from you. Okay. I haven't got to talk with Justin specifically about this, but my understanding is that they've been working with their attorney. We're not going to allow them to, well, no, we have spoken about this. Sorry. We spoke about this beforehand. I haven't heard your discussion with them. We're not going to allow them to retain ownership of the site the lift station's on, but there's been some discussion about like right of first refusal. If we ever get gravity sewer out there, what they want is to be able to take the land back to be able to put a building on it, which I don't think from a city standpoint we necessarily have an issue with.
I think the issue is right now there's not traditional gravity sewer up there, so there's a collection tank, right?
Yes.
That's then forced. Somebody got to correct me on this, but through pressure. At some point in time, my understanding of talking with Will is there are no plans to put gravity sewer up there, but theoretically at some point in time there may be gravity sewer. If gravity sewer happens, that tank would go away at that point. And so the question they're asking is the property that that tank sits on, could that then go back to the developer? We had step in and say city code requires it to be city owned. We can't put it on the easement, we don't want it, it needs to be on city property for a whole variety of reasons. So that's been communicated to them, and we're kind of continuing to talk. But I said, anything different from city ownership would require you guys to come before the city council and probably ordinance change. So I think they're going in a different direction.
And part of the problem, part of the ask is the state health department codes. Whenever you put these tanks in, we've seen it with the subdivisions, the health department has a minimum distance rule from these storage tanks. I can't remember what they see them as. Like, it's not just having a grinder pump lift station. The tanks are seen as a different facility, and you have to have a larger buffer area around it. Like, Hillcrest actually lost a buildable lot that they originally put on the plat because the health department had said, no, you can't have a home, you know, a residence within so close to this. So they've lost a whole commercial building, essentially. And they're just hoping to maybe 10, 15 years down the road, if we get commercial there, to be able to get the property back somehow and continue with the original plans of putting up a second commercial building, which is what the PZD allowed for. So we're working through it, but we haven't run into this issue before, so there's been lots of discussion with attorneys and staff and engineering and everything else. But there's nothing for y'all this month, so at this point I don't have anything else, unless y'all have any specific questions. Thank you.
Next is the Water and Sewer Department report, and my understanding is that with Will out, he sent the information through Dan.
That is correct. Just a quick update. We've, since the last council meeting, they've identified 7 service line leaks. 2 more meters that were not registering flow, which will get corrected as well. They also were planning to transfer an employee that currently works in the Water and Sewer Department to the floodplain administrator, the MS4 administrator position that they're currently working through. They did have 1 employee that has turned in his notice, but the good news is they were already moving forward with attempting to hire the replacement for the MS4 individual, and they're starting interviews may have started this week. It was Will's baby kind of because of issues there. As far as open work orders, you'll have that sheet there as well. There's 29 open work orders for the water and sewer department. You'll notice the majority of those are replacing those water services that they identified. Unfortunately, as they continue to identify those services, and we look at our water loss under the Public Works report, our water loss is back up again this month to 64%. But they're moving pretty quickly as they can to go ahead and correct these leaks that they're finding. So as they're correcting those, they're bringing a third-party boring contractor in to bore the street, while they're also looking for additional leaks. So they're moving as quickly as they can. Any questions on
Is there a common denominator for all these leaks?
Yes, the common denominator is the material that was used back in the time frame all these were constructed. Our neighboring cities are running into the same issues. Bentonville is, Fayetteville is. I don't know if it's the material at the time that is degraded that we're having issues with, but it's common beyond the city limits of Cave Springs. And so they're going
Everybody else said they're having the same type of problems. We were down there.
I appreciate that, but I'm not worried about them.
Yeah, but it's all within the same time
Yeah, it's the
frame.
same building and that same kind of, that's what I'm saying common, we're seeing it, it's elsewhere, it's a material issue.
Just as like a layperson, I think, because this has been one of the issues, you know, I've been trying to focus on, and I'm even the one that asked for the dollar amount to be put on here, however many years ago that was, for water loss. But it's just the way that I'm conceptualizing of it is for a period of our growth, you know, we were using this material that is now very leak prone, and then as we've been going through and fixing the system, replacing the old material, it almost like relocates the leaks because the pressure it pushes that water into the other older areas, and then there are leaks that spring up there. My thought is, or at least the way I'm understanding as a layperson, is that once we replace all of that older material, we should see like a precipitous drop in leaks, because it's almost like we're, you know, having to like plug the holes as they pop up, and you know, by plugging one hole, it's in a very real way sometimes I think causing the other leaks, is what Will has said. That's just the way I'm conceptualizing of it as a layperson. Is there a way to get a kind of an update on, you know, because I remember there's been discussion in the past that we don't even necessarily have like a map that shows here's where all that material is, to where we can go in and start to, you know, proactively replace it or something like that. Is that, I mean, are we kind of finding that out as the leaks spring up, or what is that situation in terms of, do we know where all that material is, or?
Yes, we have a good idea where the material is, and that's where they're focusing their efforts on looking for leak detection.
Okay.
So that's why they're concentrating on those areas.
So are we just fixing the leaks and not fixing the lines?
No, so we're putting brand new service lines in. We're not doing localized corrections or leak fixes. We're putting an entire new service line, replacing it in its entirety.
And then, are you putting, I stopped by, like Brentwood has many, but isn't there like kind of like a covering that you're protecting them with, it's blue?
Well, under the streets, they're sleeving them under any paved areas. So when they go under the streets, they're being sleeved. That way, if you have to replace them in the future, you pull the sleeve out, or the sleeve stays in, you pull you don't have to rebore it in the future, if you will.
Well, Ravine, had that subdivision south of Ford over there?
It's south of Brown.
South of Brown Road. That's not that old a subdivision.
How many is it?
432,000.
They were all done since 2006, so they're all 20 years old or less.
Yeah, keep in mind, a lot of these are 20 years old that they're replacing too.
Well, I just, part of the reason I'm speaking on it too is just this has been an issue that I've focused on, and I do want the public to know that there are some issues that are just complex issues that, you know, they don't admit of an immediate, you know, let's just take $80,000 and pay Bill and he's going to go out and just instantly fix the whole thing, right? And I think it's important to recognize that this has been a persistent issue that we've stayed on our engineering team and our water and sewer team about, and I feel like we have a very good team. I really trust Daniel. I really trust Will. I think he's great in his position. And so I'm seeing all the work and the forward progress, but from the outside looking in, or if I'm just a citizen and I'm looking at this, I can still imagine being really alarmed by it. I think recognizing that there is a finite nature to the problem, that once we can replace the majority of or all of this material that is subpar, that we will see a huge decrease in water loss. And so I mean that's a project we just have to keep using the tools that we've got to combat it. So I appreciate the work you're doing, Daniel. I just kind of wanted to speak to that.
I need to. But we'll keep it identified and keep it moving. Just keep in mind, every day, your system is a day old.
Yeah.
So you've got to think proactively and make sure we're looking at repairs in the future as well, because once the service lines are corrected, we have older lines that still need addressing, like the galvanized lines. We thought we had all those repaired as well, or replaced. And then we still find those periodically as leaks show themselves.
Yeah, I think in about 2012, it was declared that all galvanized lines were now replaced, and we continue to find them periodically here and there.
Yep.
All right, and we have just project-related items. The NACA project will have an ordinance on the agenda later tonight to talk about doing bond swap on it. But that project is basically wrapped up once that's completed. The two highway department relocations that we're doing, those are still the one on the north side of town, borders Bentonville. We've received approvals from the Department of Health. We're just awaiting a contract from RDOT to allow us to go ahead and obtain right of way. And then we'll do that project and get it moving forward. And then we're wrapping up the design on the major part of it here in the downtown area. The pump station, the wastewater treatment plants, are the two that we have. The final closeout report has been submitted to the Department of Environmental Quality, and we're waiting on them to accept that. As soon as that is accepted, we are finished with that project. As far as the water service area expansion, we've submitted a preliminary report to Natural Resource Division of the Department of Agriculture, and they've reviewed that and asked us to go ahead and advertise and set up a public hearing to move forward with trying to tie down the water service areas west of here, primarily that we're looking for. And we will need to notify all of our neighbors within a certain distance. I can't remember the distance, but it's going to be Springdale, Rogers, and Bentonville need to be notified of that public hearing.
We also notify all the people out there.
No, sir, we're not requiring that. Well, they will be notified through the advertisement, but we don't have to physically notify each one of them individually, just those who would affect that border us. Any questions on the water and sewer side?
Thank you. And engineering report now.
All right, now the West Wallace Road project, that actually started today before the rain started. The notice received was issued. They will probably do the majority of the work at this setting, but they will have to demobilize and probably within the next 2 months and wait to remove, I think, 5 trees that are along the route. They have to wait till November 15th due to bats and the regulatory requirements associated with utilizing those grant funds that we have from RDOT. So the project will take a little while longer than we anticipated. The signal light, as you know, is operational. I think we've got everything taken care of, other than doing a final inspection and pulling a punch list together for the contractor. We'll have to get RDOT on site in that final inspection as well. I'll touch on some localized drainage items. Visiting with the mayor, got several that we'll be pulling together, dusting off some estimates. Brown Road is one of them. There's a home there that we've talked about in the past that has received flooding several times. The mayor's asked us to look at pricing for a phased approach on that, and we'll be working through that.
Is that the house at the bottom of the hill there?
Yes.
Like to replace their fence with, yeah.
It is. We'll also be looking at Birdine Road. There's an area just west of the new subdivision there on Birdine Road. The mayor's asked us to look at some solutions there. The ditch bank by the city shop right up the road. City forces are planning to get in and clean that out, rock in the bottom, down trees and the like, and we'll need to get probably 1, maybe 2 permits to do that. So the mayor's asked us to get started on that. Fairway Valley, we've talked about that, and one of the items that we looked at, the mayor, Justin, and I, when that project was originally approved in phase 1 and it's continued, no streets were dedicated during that plat approval process. So that being the case, that's not, we can't do work on a property we do not own for that specific one.
And that includes like the drainage going out to the creek too, correct?
That's correct.
Because the drainage and the roads and all of that is connected with us not owning it.
That's correct.
Okay, I just wanted to clarify that. Thank you.
And there is a culvert there, which we did look at that culvert, but you have to be very careful. If you increase the size of that culvert and the creek gets up too high, you could adversely affect the homes in that area because more water could flow from the west back to the east into the subdivision.
But we can't even look at that further because we don't.
I'd have to go back there. We may have an easement through on that. I'd have to go back and look at that specific area, but it would not be recommended to make any changes to that culvert.
Thank you.
And then, listed with the mayor and David actually today, there's some drainage in Soaring and Scissortail. This is a subdivision that was approved by Rogers prior to the land swap. And there's some standing water within that area and encroaching on some in Scissortail, and we're looking into that as well. It appears to be, a lot of it has to do with constructability. While they're constructing, putting spoil piles out there, not allowing water to get out to the road. But in visiting with David, we want to make sure that we visit with the developer to ensure he knows that there is a potential ponding issue back there. And when the homes are finally ready, we want to make sure that water is able to get out in that area. And I think I have covered all of them unless you have any questions.
I do have a question. Being on Birdine myself, and I know McClellan does stuff in Lowell as well. I know that the city of Cave obviously didn't send that letter. Can you expand upon when you received that letter, since the mayor said you're looking at it through the Cave aspect on Birdine, but why did residents receive that letter along Birdine in reference to Lowell? Are you able to expand on that at all?
Make sure I understand the specific one you're looking at. You're talking about the potential to make improvements to Highway 264?
Yes.
There? Yes.
We received that, I don't know, 2-3 months ago?
Yes.
So just how, I guess, why did we receive that letter, or can you expand on that? I don't know if you can.
We're in the preliminary processes, we are working with Lowell at preliminary processes of looking what improvements could look like on 264. Primarily, these are transportation improvements. But while looking at that, there is a known drainage issue in that area, which we also want to try to capture during those improvements. This is not a short-term process because there's no funding for it. And it is on state-owned property as well. So part of this is determining what can this project look like, what does this project cost, and then can we get that incorporated into the capital plan of RDOT? It will likely take some type of cost share with the city as well, city of Lowell is what we're looking at, but that process is moving forward.
So when you said the mayor asked you to look at Birdine for clarification, is that what you're looking at, or is it something additional?
No, it's an outfall from the detention pond.
Hillcrest.
Hillcrest, yes.
Okay, so that's why I was like, wait a minute, I don't.
No,
I
it's
just think it's
outfall
really-
that. There's a couple of options that we can do to get the surface water off of the road right there. That's what we're looking at.
Yeah, because it's horrible. And then with that being said, what about, did you end up pulling permits for Hillcrest since they're having continuous drainage issues?
No, we did have a good meeting with them just 2 weeks ago. We had several folks from the current ownership of the subdivision and the original developer, that was S&K, who we have a bond with. Went through the entire subdivision. We have a punch list, probably it's less than a page, punch list items that they need to address. And there was some discussion on, well, who should do this? Because property is transferred. And David wrote a very good email to them that basically says, we don't care who does it, it will get done. So I would have expected to see a little bit more or some work since that meeting, but due to the rain that we've had, it's held them up to some extent. But we're confident that we'll be able to get them to get in and get this taken care of.
Do we have a suspense for them? Because it's gonna continue to rain. It's almost like they very much took advantage of the city in the dry months that we had, but it could have been mucked out. So I just don't, if you have expected to hear from them by now, I think there needs to be some follow-up and then some repercussions if it's not done. Because the bottom line is it's not gonna dry out for a while, especially with the additional rain, so they can't muck it out.
Yes, we can get in. Well, there's a couple things they can do because the bottom orifice on the drainage structures have some grass in it and things of that nature. That can be cleaned out to allow the pond to fully let the water out of the pond, if you will. So there are some things that they can get in there and do.
Because they haven't maintained it all. PVC pipe down there, all sorts of trash before it continued to rain. So if we could get a suspense on that and get a follow-up and some movement forward before the next meeting, I don't think that would be unreasonable to you.
No, I do not.
So then you can have an update, because otherwise I think those permits, we've given them months to fix it and they haven't. And there's no really repercussions that we've given as a city.
Now, right now we have a bond and then we have building permits. Those are the two items that we have at our disposal.
So I think they should make some, or at least provide you a game plan of suspense dates where they plan on doing things to move forward.
That we'll have that at the next meeting.
Perfect, thank you so much. I appreciate you.
I've got a couple of things, questions. On Brown Road, there was one time we discussed taking that curb out, just coming straight down to the highway.
That's happening,
Yeah, that's happening with RDOT. That's an RDOT project. There'll be a roundabout there and they will straighten all that out.
Okay.
You'll be around about, I think.
Second, I know I talked to Justin and I'd like to know how the conversations are going with Springdale about where the pumping patch used to be down here and across the creek.
Yes,
Blue Ribbon.
yes, we're actually trying, well, are we talking about the drainage?
Yes. Talk about the drainage that comes across here. That's a flood zone.
Yes, there's a line right there. We need to cut a ditch from the culvert, which we had in the project that we had, trying to call the name of the road, Phil's Lane. But there's a existing Springdale Water Utility water line there that it's too high to cut the ditch. So we're working through that with Springdale Water to see if we can lower that.
That's a separate issue that we're working on for Field. He's talking about the new subdivision that's coming between Wagon Wheel and the creek there, across from the corner of the golf course, and the impact it could have on downstream flooding.
Okay, I'll have to check into that. I'll need to check into that.
Because the property is in Springdale, correct?
That's correct.
Yes.
Okay,
It's
so it
gonna
would make
flood-
sense that you
it's
wouldn't
gonna
be up to
flood
part
part of
on
our city, which it does every year. So, and if they put a berm up around the creek, then they're altering the the natural flow of the water. So, I don't know who their engineer is, but anyway.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Sam.
Anything else?
Thank you.
Next item is the attorney's report.
Okay, good afternoon, evening. Just gonna go through a few things. Earlier when the chief was speaking, mentioned about an update on the fire department lawsuit. That's been going through discovery, with a lot of different parties are involved, you guys probably know, on that matter. There was an appetite, several months ago to get this to I believe I talked to you about, there was a desire to get it to a settlement conference. However, with the addition of new parties, they all wanted to do some discovery. We fulfilled a very large discovery request recently, probably 2 to 3 weeks ago. It was something that we worked on. And aside from that discovery, that's the latest over the last month. Nothing new as far as the upcoming milestones. I don't know if there's a trial date set. However, I think what has happened is everybody's insurance carrier has been evaluating kind of what went wrong. We have had a couple of experts, professionals assist us in going to the fire department, look at the roof, and look at the various problems. So when there's something new there, I'll let you know. We're in discovery right now.
I have one question about that. When all of this is said and done, due to the fact that we paid to have it done, can they be responsible for all of our attorney's fees and everything else going into this? Because we as a city asked for a building to be completed and to be completed well. So all of this extra money that is taking the city, I don't think we should bear that cost. Is there a way to have them pay that?
This lawsuit initiated by the city bringing action against the contractor, its legacy for breach of contract. And in breach of contract actions, the prevailing party is entitled to get attorney's fees. There's a state law on that. Typically, in lawsuits, each party pays their own way. It's called the American rule. There's some exceptions. One of those is with contract cases. So we do have a claim for legal fees. That's in there.
Great.
Of course, once we sued the contractor then turned around and filed third-party complaints. They filed lawsuits against all the subs. So they brought in every single sub, and once every single sub has come in, they've sent discovery. They've asked for, documents, records, communications, everything we have. In addition to the subs, the architect was also brought into the case. So, but yes, attorney's fees are part of the lawsuit.
Thank you.
Additionally, over the last month, there's been a lot of work on easements for utilities, for water and sewer. That's been a lot of work ongoing. Also, in addition to what Daniel talked about, we're actively working on code changes for drainage. Would have hoped to have had something by now, but it's been a lot to undertake, so kind of looking for later in a few months to have that complete to bring forward to you. Coming forward in 2 weeks is going to be the employment handbook with revisions that are being proposed, so we'll provide them to you for the work session, and we can go through changes and discuss the various changes, proposals, and questions that you have about the employment handbook at the work session. I believe there's also going to be at the work session the water master plan, the sewer master plan, which Leland has completed, and so looking at having that at the May city council meeting, so we'll put that on probably have that for water and sewer, and then for the work session, right? Yes. Yeah, so that'll be coming up.
Water and sewer is the same.
Water and sewer.
RC, been approved by,
So Health Department approval, Water and Sewer Committee has reviewed it, needs to come to you all, and that'll be up for approval later in May. I'm going through on my list here. The final thing is we need to bring an issue to discussion here for you all, because I've received a number of questions about it. I thought it's just best to have appropriate discussion about it. The city's Facebook page, got lots of questions about it, about earlier in the month, in April.
Justin, can you get a little closer to the mic because the air conditioning came on
Yeah.
and it's like blasted me.
Can you hear? Is this
Yeah.
better?
Yes, yeah, I just want to make sure that you're heard, yeah.
Sure. So, sorry about that. JJ, what I mentioned is that I've received a number of questions about the city's Facebook page and what had happened, so I thought it would just be best to bring it forward to you all. Starting off, the city council controls all real personal property in the city. So if the city wants to buy or sell real property, if they want to buy or sell a vehicle or really if the city has an asset such as a vehicle or desk and offices, computers, servers, firearms, fire equipment, all that sort of stuff, the state law puts that in possession and control of the city council. The administration manages those assets and uses those, but city council has ownership, so to speak, of those particular assets. My understanding essentially is that the city had a Facebook page that was set up in 2015, so 10, 11 years ago. And this was a site where you would have your city agendas, city meeting videos, things of that nature posted, city announcements, those type of things. At some point last year, it went dark, it went down. Kimberly was the person who set that up in 2015, I believe. And it's my understanding that it was taken down last year, so the city set up a new Facebook page to push out information and host videos and things of that nature. Roughly a month and a half ago, maybe 2 months, the Facebook page came back up, but was titled has a new name to it, no longer City of Cave Springs, and had been posting political content. The users that were a part of the city's Facebook page over the last 10 years are still associated with that page, and so I think that raised a number of concerns. Earlier in the month, beginning of April, I sent an email to Kimberly's attorney about the issue, essentially saying this is a problem, I'd like to try to work this out. It's a city asset. Using it in such a way is problematic. And the response that I received back, he checked into it and he stated that the page was set up in 2015, that the page was a personal page that was tied to her personal credit cards and information. And at that time, to set up a Facebook page, you had to use a personal email, and Facebook did not accept a .gov email account to do so. Saying that she's always been the administrator and that it was never run by the city. And then at some point last year, she had received a recommendation from somebody in the municipal league, I believe it was Marquez in the municipal league, to turn it off, and so that's what she did. So I've had a couple of you contact me about it. I've had some discussions about it with concerns. I think the issues that I've heard is a concern about use of a city asset, which is the city Facebook page that was set up in the course of business, but also having all those users that were once following a city page sort of moved over to this now personal page that's being used. So I thought it best to have a conversation with you all about that and to answer any questions, but also see what you want to have done, because ultimately it's the responsibility of the council for for the property. I mean, I think there are a number of options. I think the best option is always to try to try to work it out, try to see if there can be a good resolution, because it doesn't make sense to have a disagreement over something like this. But still, I wanted to have bring this all to light to you all and have this discussion at a meeting, so ultimately you all can decide what to do.
Now, does this break any kind of state law?
I think it's problematic, yeah. Naturally, some of the statutes that we're talking about are ones that were put into effect many, many, many years ago, right? So the statutes that talk about property of the city were enacted well before probably we even had computers, much less social media sites. So, you have to, you always have to take that into account. I have looked to see whether there happens to be a case or an AG's opinion or something of that nature that would maybe give some guidance. I haven't been able to find much on that so far, which happens sometimes with these questions, but I think ultimately it's a city asset. The types of issues that it could raise are those type of property issues, city property issues. It also raise ethical issues. Public officials have rules of ethics that they have to abide by on how they use public property, and so there could be issues there as well.
So this is the Cave Springs NWA, that's the city property?
Yes, sir. Well, it was, if you scroll backwards on the page, I've gone to just to look, so I was told about it. If you scroll backwards, you get to city content. You start getting to the meetings. And there's another issue there. The city has to maintain those recordings for a year of meetings. So for a while, that's where you were maintaining those. So you have that, but if you have city records, those are required to be maintained. If there's agenda postings or things of that nature that are put out there, those are city packets, things like that. Those may have certain record retention requirements, but you have that. The other issue that I looked at was the about page for the site. So I'm not terribly knowledgeable about Facebook, but it has an about page where it talks about the purpose for its creation, and it's listed as a city page. So, to at least, to my eyes, when I'm going back, you see got personal political content, and as you scroll backwards, you get the city content in that page. That was converted over roughly 2 months ago.
So Kimberly is still the administrator listed on it?
I assume she's administrator now, but I don't have access to that information. I think she was when the page was set up for the city.
So how do we get an administrator that we for sure know who it is?
Somebody would have to transfer ownership of it, Mike. It's just like, like for my businesses, we have business pages, and I can create them from my personal Facebook page, like that's what it's tied to originally, and then you can add editors or owners or transfer ownership of the page. Like if let's say I sold my preschool and we then transferred the ownership of the page to the new owner, we could do that. It has to be, all pages have to be created by an individual, and I think that's changed significantly over the years how it operates, but to create a page for like an organization or a business or a government, an individual has to create that, has to be tied, created from some individual Facebook account. And so,
ultimately, I think the resolution that I believe should be done, but it would ultimately be your choice, would be to transfer back the page or simply shut it down, let it go away, and then whoever wants to set up their own personal page for whatever type of content, they can do that and go forward.
But a quick question to tie into that: when they need to be transferred to the city and the city turned on, since it's a city asset,
right?
Because of the vehicle, or if you have a vehicle asset, the city sells it, not the.
Correct.
So it would almost. Am I wrong in that? It would have to be transferred to the city.
I suppose
it goes silent.
If I think ultimately that would be the proper thing to do if it was just turned off altogether and never to be, arisen again, then, that would ultimately maybe have the same result, but it's a city page, and you do have pages for different things. You have, in the past, the police have had a Facebook page, and the city has, there are cities that have departments that have individual pages and, pages for different reasons, and that could be used for that purpose.
Well, on that note, I mean, there are even satirical pages that's like, the city of Bentonville has a satire page, but that it was created and always used as a satire page. I think that's what makes the situation unique and I think a lot of these legal issues, like you said, are frankly not fully settled, or there at least there are questions about them, but the use of the page as the official city page for years, I mean, that is an interesting situation. I think I did the same thing. I looked into to see if I could find any case law on this, and it just, like you said, the laws are older than the technology. But the way I'm conceptualizing of it is there are lots of digital interfaces that we use, and you can create things and buy and sell things on those digital interfaces. But if it was used as the city's page for years, it almost seems like there's a kind of a deputizing that happens there, or when it's allowed to be used that way, is some kind of validation of it for that purpose. And so, it's an interesting case. It's also just a great reminder for everybody that social media is slowly making us all insane. And Facebook, you're not paying for it because your attention is the product, and it boils down complex conversations into memes, and that's frankly never productive. And so this page aside, I was saddened to see a page that was used for official purposes for so long turn into kind of a meme page about the city. But so that's just another note on it. But
so I think it's always worth trying to do everything we can to resolve issues, especially ones that really shouldn't be problems to begin with. But I think obviously you guys can take this into consideration and move on to the next item of business. You can also ask, I can continue to try to work with them on this issue. I'm happy to do that and see whether this thing can get resolved. Ultimately, the question hasn't been asked of me. What would ultimately you have to do to get control back? Is probably make a claim in a lawsuit to do it. It's happened before. Maybe not for social media sites, but there's quite a case out of Lowell from 20 years ago when the mayor in Lowell at the time, Lowell had a stagecoach that it used for kind of its identity and at the city park and things like that. And the mayor kind of made a contract with somebody who was a stagecoach aficionado to keep it up and repair it. And after so long, he could keep it; it would be his. And that got fought over that stagecoach. And it went up to the Arkansas Supreme Court, and the Arkansas Supreme Court said, City Council, the ultimate kind of foundational issue, the City Council has control of the city's real property and personal property, and if it wasn't approved by the City Council, then it doesn't matter if an agent of the city or somebody else in the city, believe that they have an agreement or an understanding or something on the side, it's a city asset. And ultimately, that's what I come back to, is, I believe this was a city asset. And I think you could walk away from it and say, we don't want it anymore, but, I believe it was city property, so you get to make that decision.
I have two questions. Where are the videos being stored now?
Right now, we do put them on Facebook, and the chief is the one that works with that.
There was last year another Facebook page was set up to host these videos when the first one went dark and whatever.
I believe we put them on YouTube though, don't we? Have the
YouTube now.
They're put on YouTube now, not the Facebook. Our city has a YouTube page.
They're actually added to Facebook after the meeting too.
So I guess they're on,
Usually.
so I guess they're on Facebook, YouTube, and then we have maintained separate ones.
If that is city property, then I think we need to shut it down, since we have another Facebook page open.
Okay.
That would be my recommendation.
Shut which one down, Mike?
Mike, can you get closer to your mic?
Shut which one down, Mike? The older one?
The one that was taken out in 2015, yeah.
Yeah. But I think part of the problem is we can't, right now, we can't shut it down. We don't have control of it. We'd have to gain control of the page, is what Justin's saying, to get it shut down.
Is that because we don't have the administrators can do it?
That's correct.
Well, theoretically.
Well, yeah, that's correct. So what,
Has that page ever had other administrators?
I don't believe it
It
is.
has.
That's
She
the
has-
next.
Yeah,
At one time, before the rights were taken from me, it was me and the police chief had as well.
They've never been administrators, they've been
Yeah.
moderators.
I think they're different levels of.
Yeah, it was a lower level, yes, but then it got changed.
But I think of that, and I think of the person who's got the.
Yeah, we never had the
Yeah,
key to
and
it.
I think that's what.
They could like post content and things like
We
that.
could post content, we could change or we could, there were things we could do as far as the basic content and, making changes and things like that. We could, do most of the things that you can do on your own page.
Let me maybe suggest this, because I reached out on this, I'm looking back at it, April 7th, I think, or April 6th, or April 7th, so it was earlier this month. I got a response back, and I've shared that with you all. I might suggest that you all allow me to continue to talk to Mr. Rozelle, who's Kent's attorney about it. Perhaps we can come to a resolution. If not, I'll come back to you all, maybe by the work session, sort of let you know where things stand, so you guys can ultimately decide which course for the city to take. Does that sound appropriate to you all?
Sounds good to me.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you very much. I didn't have anything else unless there are any questions for me.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
Clerk treasurer's report
Yeah, that one.
and mayor's report, and I don't have one this month. Public comments.
My name is Peter Smith. I live over in the Brentwood subdivision. Just wanted to clarify, I was very happy to hear that there's going to be projects moving forward to, start identifying, hey, how can we address the drainage, Brown, Burdine, and then hopefully eventually the 264 improvements, that drainage can help as well. I feel like there's a really big opportunity there to help us out from that massive water that keeps flowing into our backyards. But for those projects that we're starting to look into, things like that, do we have any sort of time frame of when we'll start seeing action, when we'll start seeing some ideas presented? Just anything that we can kind of go off of other than just, hey, we're working on it.
Do you? Yeah.
We already have several proposals, I say proposals, but options in front of the mayor. He's asked us to make a few adjustments to those. So it's ongoing right now. Ultimately, we'll come back to the council and present those, and it'll be a funding issue. It's what's in the budget, and can we afford, what can we afford, and when can it be done? So I would think, just based, once it's presented, and based on the money that's available, that's going to generate the timeline.
Okay.
Daniel, you're specifically referencing the Brentwood issue in reference to the 264, correct? Or are you just addressing all of them?
Well, I mean, we heard that there was the 264 RDOT was, there was no budget set for that, but then you mentioned that Brown, drainage for Burdine, kind of those little pocket areas, those little identified areas. So it was more of those, the Burdine issue, Brown issue, things like
Okay,
that.
I'm
But
sorry.
specifically on my end, I'm concerned about the Burdine because that's our backyard.
Yes.
So.
With the RDOT?
Yeah,
He's my
on-
neighbor.
Yes, on the one that's we're referring to, Highway 264, I've got to be honest, we're talking, there's going to be time associated with that. This will not be a next year project. Because it'll require a lot of funding from multiple sources.
Right. But in terms of like what's going on with those specific drainage areas like Burdine, I mean, you had mentioned for different proposals being put in front of the mayor and whatnot. I mean, if I come to the next city council meeting, I mean, is that going to be enough time to say, hey, we've looked at all these options. Yes, here's the plan in place. Because I mean, as of today, we've been the last couple of weeks, the rain is starting to come, and I've been up here several times saying, hey, we've got to, that drainage is still an issue. We got through all the dry months, and now we're getting back into the wet months again, and we're still fearful that another 100-year event is going to come through, within, 2 years. So, but I mean, if I come to the next one, I mean, can I expect and tell, my fellow residents over in that area, hey, come to the next one, they're going to start presenting plans, or they're going to start showing plans? I mean, is that reasonable for a time frame to say?
This is reasonable. We have information right now.
Okay.
That we've already talked through, so.
Okay. Good deal. Okay, yeah, we'll be in here next time, and we'll see what some of those plans are then. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? First item on the agenda, the drainage has been well covered by Daniel. So,
One question on that.
yeah.
How, maybe it's a Justin and Daniel question, how are you going to, or can I notify the residents from Fairway Valley that have reached out to me in the past to let them know, or can the city send them a letter? How do you notify them that those are not our roads? Like, to update them, so they know that they're not our roads. Can I call and say, hey, this was discussed at the council meeting, and you should go listen to it?
Yeah, one thing I want to make sure we're clear on the terminology is, the roads were not dedicated, right?
True,
So,
sorry.
By the plat, they weren't, so we don't have a dedication. And, ownership of roads can happen through a plat, but it also can happen through prescription or sort of this public taking of a property. Who knows if we dial back 20 years, why it was missed or how it was missed. In particular, there are a lot of things kind of with that set of roads and drainage there, which are suboptimal to say the least. But as it is on paper right now, we don't have a dedication. I think this may be kind of part of a larger discussion, because that raises up the type of issues. You have private roads down there. For one thing, we have city assets like the old water line, sewer pump station, and things like that, which those roads are often used or can be used to access. And so I kind of think we need to take a careful approach. I think one of the problems with communicating right now might be sort of a misunderstanding for people to say, you're on your own, you're never going to get help again, because these roads are dedicated. And I'm not so sure that final decision has been made yet.
I would like to reach out and just say, if you roads were talked about in the council meeting.
Yeah, I think we can talk about facts, and that there is a fact that they were never included in the dedication. And so, if we were to work on, I think what we're talking we've been asked to look at the drainage in that particular area. Well, one of the problems is we don't own any of the drainage structures there, so we can't really work on them as they are right now. It doesn't mean that there's not a future solution that could arise that we look at it would benefit everybody, that would be appropriate for the city and all that sort of stuff. But I just want to put that kind of caution, like that somebody might be hearing that saying, oh, you told me that we're totally on our own.
Well, I didn't take it like that, but as of right now, we can't continue to go forward, as you said,
Yeah.
looking at their drainage issues because it's not, they haven't been dedicated, so technically they're not our
Right.
property as of this moment.
We can't, if we consistently have this issue where somebody will contact, like I said, usually the mayor or the mill or somebody, and will say, I've got water coming onto my property, what's the city gonna do about it? And look at it, and there's water coming from one private property to another private property, and we can't take city workers, city equipment, and stuff out there to do that. That's the landowner issue. And ultimately, that's kind of what the status is over there right now, is they have landowner issues. One property draining onto another, and we don't have city infrastructure, we don't have city drainage, we don't have city roads. And so, I think it's good to communicate facts, but just to, I'm pretty careful about, making sure they're not hearing, we're not gonna ever do anything anymore, because it's part of the whole discussion that we're, within the city, is in the council, and everybody's trying to talk about is drainage as a whole. But,
Hopefully they listen to the meeting.
yeah. If it would be helpful, I could probably just draw, because I know that's cutting a fine line, I could just draw a little memo about it.
That's what I
provide
was.
to council, and that way you all can provide that to people who ask
That,
you.
yes,
Yeah.
the facts.
I'll try to do it in a way that's very precise so that they sort of understand.
That's exactly what I was thinking. Thank you so much.
So I'll do a memo on it, and that'll be a memo that will be distributed to council, and you guys can.
And then
distribute it.
Randy can have that on hand to get out as well.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much.
And I just want to jump in real quick and say, again, Daniel, I appreciate the work that you and Will are doing, and it just, there are technical problems that take coordination between public entities and private entities like professional services to fix, and you can't rush them, they don't get fixed by snapping your fingers. And I know when I came on council, especially when it came to things like dealing with RDOT, the speed of things threw me off and concerned me. And I tried to push myself into the realm as much as I could. And I very quickly found out that I was most of the time just getting in the way of the people who actually were solving those technical problems with limited personnel and limited resources. And that's the world we live in. We have to try to solve technical problems by relying on the professional services that we contract out with. We don't have a city engineer. We contract with McClellan. McClellan has limited personnel, and obviously, I mean, they bill us for their time and services. They want to spend as much time as they can on our services. I don't think anybody's dawdling, and I think I just want to address that and just say, I appreciate the work that you guys are doing. These are technical problems. They're a part of development. The Brown Road property, for example, is in my backyard. I live on Brown Road. I know the property owners. It's a single property owner, singular property owner. And they live at the bottom of two giant hills, and just, again, I'm not an engineer or a genius or anything, but I mean, that you're going to run into drainage problems as we start to develop, and they're technical problems that require technical solutions. It's not something that admits it being rushed, and I want everybody to know that there is a lot of work going on behind the scenes, and that doesn't mean that the work is not real. And frankly, I've spent a lot of time looking over some of the stuff that McClellan has produced, and it's not really in my wheelhouse to understand some of it. We have to rely on our advisors, we have to rely on the experts that we contract with to do technical work and professional services. And just like we trust Justin when it comes to lawsuits, and that is advisable to do, when it comes to these technical problems, they're going to require technical solutions. And I think we have a good team working on those things. Nothing happens overnight. Some things are extremely frustratingly slow, especially as they deal with state highways. And so I do appreciate the work you're doing, though, and as we continue to battle the drainage issue, I'm hoping that the people will see that work you guys do behind the scenes more and more. So.
And I would prefer not to see them move too quickly, because usually when they're moving quickly, it's on reports related to disasters, and those are not things we want to go through again. But it's very helpful that they are both in Little Rock and up here, and the connections they have help us to be able to do things more efficiently through RDOT, through ADEQ, and the health department, and the different state agencies we have to deal with. It's amazing the way that they're able to have the contacts move through the process as well as they do. It seems like it takes forever, but a lot of times it's sitting on a desk in Little Rock waiting on a response before we can take the next step. It's not McClellan holding it up. So I do appreciate them more than I usually say that I'm very grateful for the work they do. Anything else? First item on the agenda is, under previous business, is the ordinance to vacate the property for the Haneys. And do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on ordinance on third and final reading by title only?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. So roll call.
Eric,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
JJ.
Yes, and then Justin, do I need to recuse myself in this vote? The Haney's, I handled the original rezoning for them, but I'm not representing them anymore. Do I need to recuse myself?
If you do.
There won't be quorum.
There will not be a quorum for this.
Is that a conflict?
This is waiver of the rule. I'm glad you brought that up.
Yeah.
After the waiving of the rule, there would, I can vote.
That's true, yeah, the mayor can vote, so,
I'll just recuse myself to be safe then.
well, the mayor can vote for the rule. Thank you, mayor can vote, yeah, so, if the problem is the mayor doesn't vote on the rule, the waiver of the rule.
And they just did that.
Well, I can go to the waiver of the rule though, can't I? Because there would be a conflict on that, but.
Typically not, because you're not saying one or the other, whether
Yeah.
you're gonna vote or not, but, you did recuse on the previous vote.
Yeah.
So the problem would maintain that, but in order for this to pass, the mayor will have to.
But I think when I recused in the previous votes, I didn't recuse on the
I don't think you did either.
waiver of the so yeah.
Sorry about that. I'm glad you brought that up. I forgot about that. That makes sense. So, I think you still need to vote for the rule.
Oh, I said yes.
Okay. So is that 4?
That's 4. It was approved. So,
you have a purchase number.
It's 2026-04.
Ordinance number 2026-04, City of Case Springs, Benton County, Arkansas. Ordinance to amend ordinance number 2026-01, vacating the 50-foot wide portion of right-of-way known as Maple Street, while retaining a 15-foot easement for the benefit of the City of Case Springs, and also vacating a 20-foot wide alley located on the east Midway Avenue in the City of Case Springs, Arkansas.
do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion from Erica. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Second from Chris. Roll call.
Now, is this the one that JJ's going to?
Correct.
Mr. Mike,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
JJ.
Recuse.
Thank you. Eric.
Yes.
And
And the mayor votes in the affirmative, so it does pass.
That passes 4-0.
Next item on the agenda is the ordinance to amend chapter 30, which is the operational code for the municipal council and mayor's office. So I would entertain a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third and final reading by title only.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by JJ, do I hear a second?
Second.
Okay, got a second by Mike. Roll call.
Chris,
Yes.
JJ,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Okay, that passed. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
A motion from Erica, do I hear a second?
A second.
Second by Chris. Any discussion?
Mayor, do I need to read the
Oh, yes, I'm sorry, I got that.
real fast? Ordinance number 2026-05, City of Case Springs, Benton County, Arkansas. An ordinance to amend chapter 30, Mayor, City Council of the City of Case Springs, of the Case Springs Municipal Code, declaring an emergency for other purposes.
Now do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion? All in favor, or, roll call?
JJ,
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Chris.
Yes.
Okay, that is 2026-05, and it was.
Make a motion on the emergency clause.
Yes.
Do I hear a motion to approve
So
the
moved.
emergency? Okay, got a motion by JJ's, do I hear a second?
Okay.
Second by Erica, roll call.
Erica,
Yes.
Mike,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
JJ.
Yes.
That was approved 4-0. So next item on the agenda is a resolution authorizing the purchase of a 250-gallon skid unit for the brush truck for the fire department. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Got a motion by JJ, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Chris. And what's the number on this?
2026-15.
15. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
What is this?
It's the aluminum tank that holds the water on a flatbed truck. Would you,
So we bought a cabin chassis last year for a new brush truck, we moved everything over, and, the tank's probably 40 years old, and it started leaking. So we tried to go cheap, and then we got burned. So that's why we're asking for this, and new pump, and
Okay.
so that's what it's for.
I used to know what it was.
Yeah, it's for the brush trucks, we tried to use an old one, I think Tony said it's like probably 40 years old. So,
I wouldn't take off the.
any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, like sign, and that passed. Next item is the ordinance amending ordinance 2023-4 for revised payment schedule for the bond swap. Do I hear a motion to suspend the rules and place this on third and final reading by title only?
So moved.
Got a motion by JJ, do I hear a second?
Second.
Second by Erica. Roll call.
Mike,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
JJ.
Yes.
Erica,
Yes.
Ordinance number, just be 2026-06. This is, an ordinance amending ordinance number 2023-4, authorizing a revised repayment schedule for the outstanding City of Cave Springs, Arkansas Sewer Revenue Bond Series 2023, and prescribing other matters related thereto.
Do I hear a motion to approve?
So,
Got a motion by Erica, do I hear a second?
Second.
Who was that?
It was me.
Second by JJ. Any discussion? Roll call.
Chris,
Yes.
JJ.
Yes.
Erica,
yes.
Mike,
Yes.
That was approved. And there's not an emergency clause on this, is there? Okay. And that is what we had on the schedule. Do I hear a motion to?
I have one thing I would like to bring up. Since we definitely do need road improvements and to have the funds that come in to do so, what is our impact fee schedule like now for the new homes being built? Is it fall in line with other cities, or is there a way to increase that due to the wear and tear on the roads? I know that's what it's for, but is there a way to increase that? Because we
We
are,
don't have an impact fee on that yet. That's why we were talking earlier in the year about doing a public hearing to set and determine impact fees.
Sorry, I can't hear you.
I feel that,
The impact fee bill that we were talking about for roads, and we were saying as soon as we got through the water and sewer study, that was the next study we planned to do, was for impact fees for police, fire, and roads.
but I thought there was an impact fee for like when a new house goes up, we have an impact fee that our city.
It's
Water and sewer.
They
Just
each
for
one
water and
has
sewer.
to be set by ordinance, and those two have to.
Okay, so can we look at the road one and get that one underway?
Yes, we
And
have.
also, can we like, is it, when do those go into effect? Is it when we approve the plat, or is it,
No, it's
Or
when
when
they
it is
get the
approved.
permit.
They
They
get their building permit.
with their permit, and when's the permit coming, does that come before, after the plat, or when it's
After
zoned?
the plat.
Should we maybe add this to the work session agenda for next time?
That sounds great,
Yeah, it does sound like a good conversation, so.
that sounds fine.
And then I'll make a motion to adjourn, if that's.
Okay, do I hear a second?
Second.
Got a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
We are